Interesting and kind of unlikely start to the third turn here. This guy, I can't read his name, Eumarchus, rallied one of the two units, the other one ran off the board. Then he used the rest of his movement to move forward and succeeded in rolling a continuation. Now this is tricky because what it means is he can affect these units and actually do something with them. So there might be a desire to trump him. The problem is you trump him and, well, one, you're skipping units, whatever. That is a complexity that is kind of annoying. But if you trump him and fail, you lose your command. So for example, you know, I have better than a 50-50 chance with this guy. And that's the only guy who's good enough to get better than a 50-50 chance of trumping. So that's, it's a risk, but I think it's worth taking. So let's see. And I fail to trump, which means I'm finished, and he gets to continue with his momentum. And that's going to signal some real problems up here in the seaside camp. That moves a couple of activations over to here. And basically, a little bit of recovery, and a little bit of units moving forward and throwing javelins at their enemies. With very little effect. I hit here. I was hoping for a continuation. I might be able to move up and launch an attack. I didn't take an attack here because the odds were slightly against me. These are equivalent units, but without the moving, I'm back one tactical quality. Chances are I would not succeed. The danger? Actually, no, it's worse than that because I'm facing both of these. My understanding of the rules, I have the right to skip this guy in the hopes of clearing him a command. I'm not really sure of this, but there's rules that seem to imply that. I'm going to look them up. I've got this fucking annoying little shit. It's doing something I've never seen a dog do before. It's standing in the middle of the street barking. It's been doing it for about an hour now. It's some kind of stray, a really little one. I don't know if it's lost its owner or whatever. I found the rule, and it's such a fucking pain in the ass to find rules in this, especially when there's a little shit outside that won't shut up. I wish I could strangle the piece of crap. But any leader other than the overall commander who starts orders phase in an enemy zone of control may not issue orders. Okay. However, his command range may still be used to designate units to engage in shock combat, and we had that over here where this guy got routed. Yeah, we've got two more of these big hoplite units getting destroyed this turn. It's bad for Syracuse. In addition, he may still use his charisma in personal combat. Okay. So far, it sounds like nothing's happening. He's not finished simply because he's in an enemy zone of control. Okay, that's fair. Maybe, you know, he has to take his command turn. However, he is finished and unable to be activated if he comes under 5.15, which, of course, it doesn't give you a hint what 5.15 is. It appears to be this, which is completed an order phase and does not make a momentum effect, trumped, declines to use the leader in instance passing. However, see 5.25, which is this roll. Okay, so let's keep looking, because it looks like that you can decline under these conditions, maybe. He has used his command range to allow units to engage in shock. Well, okay, what if I don't do that? If he is neither of the above and he becomes eligible to activate orders, the player must activate him before any higher rated leaders. However, a leader activated may not use momentum. I think it means that I can pass with him under these conditions. I think. It's not clearly stated, and it's like much of these rules. It's really funny that these are, well, honestly, actually, maybe it's not that funny. I was going to say it's funny that these are Mark Herman rules, but when you look at the credits, they're actually, Mark Herman's The System, Deluxe Edition designed by both, original game developed by Berg, rules and commentary by Berg. Well, that explains why it doesn't make any sense, right? Berg manages to make simple rules sometimes fail, and in this case, he doesn't use his light style, etc. It's as if he's trying to nail everything down, and he's really bad at that. And really sometimes gives completely the wrong impression. I have to interpret this as meaning that I can skip him without penalty if I wish to. So if I want to hit this to try to clear the way for him, I can do that. Combination of cav charges and hoplite push. They routed the other hoplite that they had 2-to-1 on, but the cav kind of ran into a block here. They're not superior. These are heavy cav. They're not superior against the light infantry. They're not inferior to it. But I wasn't really able to just clear them out of the way I hoped to. That used up his activity. Now I jump back to him. And I don't know how much he can really do. I could launch more attacks. The problem is, at this point, this would be hitting behind the minor barricade. This would also, let's make sure this is facing the right way now, because it's able to rotate as it pushes in. This would be facing 2 units, so it doesn't look terribly likely that I can bust my way through there, so I probably want to do some kind of recovery. I have been flipping counters over, which is why you see the stripes on them. Prior experience tells me doing that is a pain in the ass. I end up leaving units flipped over between turns. On the other hand, not doing it doesn't work because things start getting too complex. When the lines are nice and even and nicely defined and the troops haven't started creating chaos, it's pretty easy to remember what you've moved, but at this point it's not really clear, hey, did I move this or not? Does it matter? Maybe not, because I don't have a leader up there. Right now I'm down to this guy and this guy, I think. There's an attacks near the hill fort, or hill camp, and we got a lot of routes coming out of that. And it just does not look good to me. Oh, I have forgot to make an attack here. Why did I not make this attack? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, this is a unit that's just charging right now after these routes. It came off the end there. Okay, so we've got I guess one more attack here. I got the potential to keep attacking with this crap, with the hopes of breaking up the enemy as well. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do there, but it looks like my army's collapsing, really, because these guys are 10, 22, 34. These are all going to go away this turn. 46, 58 more points. That puts me up to 97. Yeah, let's make the attacks. It looks hopeless either way you look at it. In addition to everything else, we actually have a personal combat here. The rating, this guy is 4, this guy is 3. So I've got a +1 to the red die roll. I end up tied. And we look for the personal combat table, which I believe there is one somewhere. Yeah. So I think nothing happens to either one. Is there no? Yeah, nothing happens. Okay. Which means we go on to that final combat. I've already rolled the TQs. And I don't know what else, but I don't want to do it live. I've got enough of a headache with that piece of shit out there. End of the turn, and remember how I said I'd leave things flipped? Yeah, looks like it happened. And who knows, you know, under some of these markers there may be units that are flipped over. I try to catch most of them, but we don't know for sure. There's a whole horde of stuff fleeing from the sea camp area, and this is because of the failed Trump attempt. I had one unit. This was a Syracusian cav that got went in the wrong direction. It's turned and heading back home. Oh, I gotta be careful and remember to try to route towards Himera if I can. I don't think, I think I had one unit run off the board. Well, we're at 97, so that unit that ran off the board probably could have gotten into here, and that would be a significant little chunk of points. But 97 is pretty damn close to, yep, there's another one, to running over the limit of 100. Over here, the C guy is 25, but they've got a lot of units routing, and I really ought to start trying to recover some of those. And then down at the hill, it's 53. That only has to get up to 80. We got a fair amount routing there too, but I think Syracuse is going to go over the limit before anything else happens. Basically, if I can find a unit that I can slap, but that's not necessarily that trivial. There's the cav up here, there's these heavies here. Where am I going to find, you know, the unit that I can hit? And, well, maybe I can get a charge in on these routing cav. That went the wrong way. But yeah. And we open things up at the end of the game. The first action of the new turn, this guy rallies this unit, was stuck here, not personally, but he moved in, ready to attack this. He took the attack and was routed, even though it's the heavy hoplite unit, whatever. Failed his save or whatever, and actually was exceeded in terms of, in part because of the wall, the little defensive thing there, which you kind of have to interpret what the hell the designers mean by how to handle that. Increasing the tactical quality doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense in all cases. It certainly does for die rolls, but I also used it that way for exceeding the threshold, so that this unit definitely routed. It would have anyway, or it definitely was the unit that had to make, that exceeded by the most. It would have anyway because it was stationary, so it didn't matter much. But anyway, that's going to be worth more than the 3-point difference. The game doesn't end immediately because the unit didn't actually get taken off the board yet. But honestly, I'm not going to be able to chase both of these other forces above their limits at all, much less keep up with whatever pace is going to be hit by the damage that's being done. So I'm just going to call it here. Yeah, I know, it's only, what, a 10-minute video after an hour and something, I don't know, an hour and a half or whatever on the first one. You never know when things are going to end in something like this. And I'll send this sucker up. I should be doing some sort of rap or something. So, what kind of went wrong? I didn't have a great feel for how to launch the attack with the hoplites. I think over here, see that Trojan column or whatever, it did a lot of damage. But maybe it would have been better to break things open and send the hoplites up against the cav instead, or the units that were over here. Get past the river, and that would have been easier if I had struck this way. A lot of these units wouldn't have been able to route in any direction whatsoever. They would have just been destroyed units. That would have maybe destroyed that army, and then it just gets removed from the map. It might be worthwhile not to launch an attack with both forces. Concentrate on one front and then worry about the other later. Or maybe do some light skirmishing. Because here's the thing. You've got to move against this and do something against it. You're not going to get a first strike against anything down here. And there's an interesting sort of flexible response force down here. The Carthaginians aren't going to be able to use a lot of it at once. But they also don't take a lot of damage all at once when you hit it. So actually attacking here, I think, cost me a fair amount of what I took. On the other hand, up here is where I lost everything pretty much. All right, well, I don't know. I mean, it seemed like a total blowout, but I don't have the feeling that it's an unbalanced scenario necessarily. These games just turn into blowouts one way or another, you know. All right, let's end it up for real this time.